Hi, and welcome along to AFTV. We are here today for the Europa League draw, which is, they say it's happening at 11 o'clock, but once they get through some of the little talking and formalities, then that's when they'll start telling us who is going to be drawn out of it. But we are here to give you that Europa League draw live. Joining me, I've got Cecil, and also my brother Laurie's in the building as well. And just to remind you guys that, of course, in the Europa League, the teams that are left in it after yesterday's games, these are who they are. Well, actually, let me explain to you. It's broken down into two sections. You've got the seeded teams and you've got the unseeded teams. The seeded teams are Arsenal, Union St. Galois, who are based in Belgium, SC Freiburg, German team, I couldn't pronounce this one, man. Ferencvaros.
Yeah,
from Hungary. Feyenoord, Real Betis, Real Sociedad, and Fenerbahce. And the unseeded teams are Juventus, Manchester United, Sporting Lisbon, Shakhtar Donetsk, Union Berlin, Bayer Leverkusen, Sevilla, and Roma. Which is the mad thing about it, is that when you actually look at that, the unseeded teams, you would say, are better and bigger than the seeded teams. And this is the anomaly of the Europa League, in that basically most of those unseeded teams are teams that have dropped out of the Champions League and then have had a playoff against a team that finished second in the Europa League, which, for instance, PSV finished second in our group. They had to play Sevilla. They got knocked out yesterday on penalties, so PSV are out of the Europa League, even though they finished second in the group, and Sevilla finished third in their Champions League group, and that's why I think it's a madness. But it is what it is, and we're going to find out today who we are going to get. The one team we can't get is Manchester United. We can't get another English team at this stage, so we cannot draw Manchester United, who, the way they were carrying on last night, I thought they'd won the thing. I had to, you know what? I was having this little thing with KG when we did the thing for the earthquake appeal. Yeah. And we did a special, best venue special. KG was on it, and the way he was carrying on about that Barcelona game, I had to remind him that, yo, KG, it's a playoff. This is a playoff game to get into the last 16. You're not winning it. You know what I mean? As good as a result as that is, you know, give them their flowers. Beating Barcelona is always, you know, that's they've done well to do that. But bloody hell, calm down, man.
You know what? I had a similar experience last night with Neeks. I did a watch along for DR Sports. Shout out to everybody who watched that. And don't get me wrong, it was a very good game. Man United came through, and I remember chatting to him during the show. Actually, I said to him, "How big is this win?" The man went on for minutes articulating how what a great win, best win of the season are to put. I was like, "No, bro, calm down.
Calm down, man. Calm down. You've got to the last 16. You know what I mean? It's not even like you're in the semi-final or the final.
Well, no, to be fair, it was a scout.
No, it's a big club. I was speaking to Danny Simpson with WhatsApp throughout the game. He said, "United are back." I'm not going to lie. I said, "Bloody hell, these are going."
Well, they're talking about the quadruple now, United fans. You know what I mean? But listen, it is a big scalp, and United are in it. Yep. Who do you guys remember in now? The teams. These are the teams that Arsenal could get. Yeah. Right. Juventus, Sporting Lisbon, Shakhtar Donetsk, Union Berlin of Germany, Bayer Leverkusen, Sevilla, or Roma. Now, let me just, before, I'm going to ask you guys, out of those teams, who would you like to get, Juventus or Juventus? Even though they're having a tough time of it, they've had points docked. They've had points docked in their league, and they've had to drop down the league, but they're a top team, Vlahovic, and co, you know what I mean? Right, superstar players right throughout the team. Sporting Lisbon, you know, Portuguese team. We played them a few seasons ago and beat them actually in the Europa League. Shakhtar Donetsk of the Ukraine. Team's been a bit decimated, you know what I mean? They did pretty well in the Champions League. They have managed to get through, always with quite a few Brazilians and that. Obviously, no Mudryk because they sold him. Union Berlin, who are one of the teams who are joint top of the German Bundesliga at the moment. Bayer Leverkusen, always a top team out of Germany. Hudson-Odoi there still. Sevilla, who got I think they've won this competition so many times, serial winners of the Europa League, and of course Jose Mourinho's Roma. Jose Mourinho, you know what type of game that will be. Tammy Abraham, players like that. Out of those teams, let me start with you, Laurie. Who would you like to get out of those? Well, the ideal draw for you.
The way I look at these draws is, do you want the sexy draw, i.e. one of the bigger teams, a Juve or something like that? Or do you want one of the teams that would appear on paper anyway to be the less challenging? And without being disrespectful, that would be someone like, say, Shakhtar.
Shakhtar.
So, but then again, you also look at it and say, if you're going to win the competition, you have to play anyone, be prepared to play anyone, and you can get anyone at any time. So I guess I'm going to cop out a little bit and say, I'll take anyone.
Ooh, you take anyone?
Yeah.
Ooh. Also, I mean, considering what we're going for in the league.
I knew he was going to come.
So, you got the league games going on. I think in between it's going to be like, the first leg's going to be in between Fulham away and Palace at home. Yeah. Do you want to be playing a Juventus? Yeah. That's.
I do.
You do?
Yeah. Anywhere warm, anywhere nice and hot.
Which is why I was making a point about: do you want the sexy game, the game that appeals to the fans? Say, yeah, I want to go over there.
Yeah.
Or do you want, my
mindset is very much like, every time we're in a cup competition, Rob, and if we win a trophy, whether it's the FA Cup or not, it's always going to be hard teams. We don't really ever get an easy run. So I wouldn't mind a Juve. I'd say Seville. I know Seville got good heritage in this competition, but not doing too great. I think they're 12th in their league right now. I think it's a big name to get rid of. I wouldn't mind them.
A lot of experience in this tournament, though.
There is. But
what about you? Who do you want? Because you're much travelled, so you've been to all of these places.
I'll take the
Is there anyone in here that you haven't been to?
I'll take whatever's the easiest team, man. Sporting Lisbon or Shakhtar for me. One of those two. I think the teams that I wouldn't like to get would be like Roma.
Yeah, no, I don't want them.
Roma with Mourinho. Yeah, I think that'd be a difficult game. Juventus at this stage, I think, is a difficult game. If we're going to get them later on, as far as travelling's concerned, Union Berlin would be a great trip. I always love going to Germany. Berlin's a brilliant city to go to, and and Union Berlin. I've heard so many stories about their atmosphere. I've been hearing about Union Berlin and their atmosphere and everything like that from when they was like in I think it's third division in the Bundesliga. And they've come all the way up, and it's a great story. And I think that would be an experience, going to Union Berlin. That would be a brilliant trip.
I mean, let's face it.
Leverkusen's another good one.
Yeah, but
to me,
Roma's a great city, but going there for football can be a bit.
It can be a bit sticky.
No, I don't want to go. I don't want Roma.
But Shakhtar, I think Shakhtar and Sporting Lisbon. I've been to Lisbon before, to Sporting Lisbon. Those two, for me, are the ones that stick out, because as far as I'm concerned, my main focus is still on the league. Yeah. You know what I mean? The league is all important. The Europa League is, I'd love to win it. I'd love to go far in it. But I want to be putting out teams that are not the strongest team in the Europa League. Yeah. I don't want to, if you're playing a Juventus, you can't go into that game with a severely weakened team, can you? You make changes.
No, you got to go. No, but I think Arteta's going to do that. I think
we've got to treat this competition with respect.
Yeah, man, so
would you go? All right, let's just say, would you go really strong? You're playing Juventus, say for instance, and you're going to play Saka, Partey, all these sort of guys, and then you've got a game on the weekend.
I think you have to.
But I don't want to do that. That's the thing. I don't want to. That's why I'd rather one of the other.
So you're saying if you got Shakhtar or Sporting Lisbon, pardon me, you would go with a slightly weakened side.
Wait, definitely.
Quickly, what ex-Arsenal players?
No disrespect to them.
Lisbon.
No disrespect to them.
What ex-Arsenal players at Sporting
Lisbon?
There's
not. There's that player who used to play, because remember when they played Tottenham, and there's that player who played, I've forgotten his name now, but he was at Tottenham. He played really well for them. But Sporting Lisbon are a good team.
It's a nice trip as well, isn't it?
It's a good trip. Lisbon's a nice
team. Give me Lisbon.
But they're beatable.
They're
beatable. Sporting Lisbon are beatable. Shakhtar, they've lost a lot of players, even though, you ain't got to go to Ukraine for the game, thankfully, with what's going on over there. But they play their games in Poland. So that still be a good trip.
I can't take the cold. Give me Sporting Lisbon, man.
Give me warmth. Give me Juve. Give me a Seville.
No, but Lisbon's warm, bro.
Getting some comments coming in from you guys. I want to know who you guys like to face. Azar Johnson says Shakhtar. Florentino Perez says Sevilla will probably win for the 7th time. They've won it a load of time. This gentleman, I can't read the writing, but he says
not Sporting Lisbon.
He says no Berlin. This team is very tough. The match is Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga this season. This is not a team to mess with. Well, we can't. Union Berlin would be a tough team. Hold on, wait a minute. We can't get Union Berlin. I'm contradicting myself.
We can. We can.
We can't get Union St. Galois. Right, which is, that's what I mean. Man United
They're
now.
a Belgian team, right?
Yeah, Man United now can get Union St. Galois, Freiburg, right? Ferencváros, Feyenoord, Real Betis, Real Sociedad and Fenerbahce. This is why this competition's ridiculous.
No, but to be fair, they did put Barca out.
No, but hold on. This is why this competition's ridiculous, because they finished second in their group.
Yeah, but
now they've got an easier pool of teams to draw against.
But it could be argued that they had a very hard draw yesterday.
Yeah, and they could come after they beat the
Bulls. By the way, the Bulls, are in the pot, so the draw is going to be happening very, very soon. Some more of those comments coming in. We should beat all of these teams over 2 legs, says EK. G1886 says Union are a really, really good team this season. They're doing brilliantly in their league. Azar says we want Shakhtar revenge. The player I was thinking about at Sporting Lisbon is Edwards. Yeah, that guy Edwards.
I just want to pick you up on something
Mulibar says, Robbie, you crybaby. You know, I
just want to pick you up on something you said about the Premier League versus the Europa League. I'm not so sure if I agree with you there, man. I think we've got to approach this competition with the strongest possible team.
No.
Hear me out.
Strongest possible. So that if everyone's fit,
absolutely not.
I think it makes small rotations.
Let me put a scenario to you. Yeah? So, and Robin kind of touched on it. If you get, say, for example, we got the Thursday Sunday thing. Yeah, we got the Europa League coming up game. Whoever we draw, I don't care who we play. Yeah, we have to play a strong side in that game, regardless of who we got on the Sunday after.
No, and I completely disagree with that, right? For me, the priority for, at this moment in time is the Premier League, right? If we've got a game on the Sunday, right, I want our best players to play on the Sunday. And if that means leaving Saka out on a Thursday night, you leave Saka out. If that means leaving Partey out. Anyway, listen, the draw is starting. We'll come back to that. The draw is starting now. Here's the first team that is being drawn out. And that team is...
Union Berlin.
Union Berlin, first team out. Of course, we can't get that because Union Berlin are one of the seeded teams.
No, we can. It's the Union St. Galois that we can't get.
Oh gosh!
No, it's good.
Too many unions, man.
I've had
too many unions in the building. So this is a team that we could get. Well, I wouldn't mind it. It'd be a tough one, but
wouldn't mind it.
It would be, as I said, this would be a great trip because they are
so when they draw
really
their name out,
emerging
they're at home
team
first.
Looks like, yeah.
That's the way.
Here we go. Could it be Arsenal?
Could it be?
It is Union St. Galois.
The unions are out.
The two unions are going to meet each other, which will upset United fans because I'm sure every United fan would have wanted St. Galois, the Belgian team. But they're out. So the two unions will face the Union Derby. Yeah, you got the Union Derby going on.
That's what they'll call it as well.
Right, next team coming out of the hat is... Here we go. Could this be Arsenal? This could be Arsenal.
This is it.
Sevilla.
Come on.
So Arsenal could get... You want Sevilla?
Yeah, man.
You're just looking at the trip, but I'm looking at the league. Is what I'm looking at. You know what I mean?
Nice little trip.
You're looking at sunshine and beach and everything. I'm looking at winning the league. I'm looking at winning the league.
Man, we can beat them, man.
My man wants to go clubbing that
season either, man.
We can beat Sevilla. To be fair, it wouldn't be the end of the world if we got them, even though they've got a great pedigree in this competition.
We're getting Juve though.
Right, here comes Arsenal. Possibly Arsenal. Could it be Arsenal? Who's coming out of this?
Who is it?
It is Fenerbahce, I think.
Fenerbahce, yes.
Fenerbahce will play Sevilla. All right, so Laurie's there writing them down there. Fenerbahce will play Sevilla.
Turkish team.
Perth Luxury, big up Perth Luxury, says, hi Robbie, me again. Quadruple still on for Manchester United. He's a big United fan. Big you up, bro. Right, who's coming out next, of course, it's the unseeded teams first. So
they get the home
black ball.
advantage.
So the unseeded teams will play at home first, and then it's always better to play the second game away.
Yeah.
Right, so here it comes. That is Juventus. Juventus now.
They're gonna.
Remember, Arsenal's still in it. Are Arsenal gonna draw Juventus?
They're gonna choose Arsenal.
Are Arsenal gonna draw Juventus? Let's see. Here it comes.
Oh, let me know.
I don't want Juventus.
But knowing this competition, that's what they'll do. They'll just do
We'll
it.
just get Juventus.
Watch
Here
it.
it comes.
Here we go. There we go.
Right. Drawing out the white balls now.
Let me know.
Gives it a little stir. Here it comes. Right. Here it comes. Cecil can't look.
Because the integrity of it, you can't. Come on, it can't be Arsenal.
It is. I can't see it there.
Who is it?
Freiburg.
Okay.
Freiburg have drawn Juventus. They don't look too happy about that, the Freiburg guy. Well, actually, no, they've got a bit of smile on their face. Freiburg will play Juventus. So Arsenal will not play Juventus. That's one team that is one of the big boys that we will avoid.
So who's left?
Right, next one of the black balls being drawn out, which is the unseeded teams, is Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen. There's a camera right in the way of the, when they're showing the ball there. All right, Arsenal versus Bayer Leverkusen. That would be a quite interesting draw.
Yeah, be all right.
Leverkusen, good side. You know, Moussa Diaby, top player, plays for them.
Good player. Let me check
But,
where they are. How
you
are they
know,
doing in the season so far?
beatable team.
Definitely.
Team. With Hudson-Odoi plays for them as well, doesn't he?
10th in the Bundesliga currently.
Right, yeah, they're not having the greatest of seasons, right? Have we got...
Who's that? Wait, what?
I can't see it. The camera's in the way.
Ferrer Kutas.
Ferencvaros.
Ferencvaros, the team from Hungary.
Yeah.
So Bayer Leverkusen will be really happy with that.
We're running out.
We're running out of teams.
Shakhtar Donetsk is still there.
Still Shakhtar still in there. Sporting
In
Lisbon's
Lisbon,
still
yeah.
in there. So, you know.
I want Sporting
I
Lisbon.
want Sporting Lisbon now. Yeah, now I want them.
Well, take Shakhtar as well. Sporting Lisbon's a better trip, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. Next team out is...
Sporting Lisbon.
Sporting Lisbon. Sporting Lisbon is the next
Sporting
team
Lisbon.
out.
Right, let me just...
Brendan went and plonked that camera right in front of the Right, who
This could be the moment.
Who are we going to get? Could this be Arsenal? Could this be Arsenal versus
I reckon
Sporting
it is,
Lisbon?
yeah. I reckon it is.
You reckon it is? Laurie reckons it is.
Please.
Here it
Give me a nice
comes.
little
Is
chip of the-
it
Go on, yeah!
Arsenal? Arsenal have got Sporting Lisbon. Sporting Lisbon. That's a decent draw. That is.
Decent one.
That's a decent draw. You know what? There's a guy that I know that I talked to many times, right? He lives around here.
Yeah.
Right? And he's a Sporting Lisbon fan and an Arsenal fan.
Is it?
He's going to be torn.
Bring him on, man.
He's going to be torn. We have to get him on, man. He was telling me about that Pedro Porro the other day. Next team draw. Do we care now?
Manchester United. No,
Manchester United have been drawn out. Manchester United have been
left?
drawn out.
Who's left this?
Who could United get? They could still get...
Real Betis?
Feyenoord would be a difficult
Feyenoord.
one for them. They're lucky they are, man.
on,
Real Sociedad,
Get a
baby.
Get a Feyenoord. Go on.
Right, who United going to get?
Has Real Betis been pulled? They haven't been pulled either.
Can it?
Betis, yeah. But it's easier on that side, isn't
It
it?
is. Go on, give me a
Right, who they got?
Look, I was dodging. Real Betis!
Real Betis.
too bad.
Real Betis. I would think United fans will be fairly happy with that. Real Betis of Spain will play Manchester United. Manchester United play the first leg at home. Who cares? But they will. Right? Right.
But we're going... nice.
Look up those tickets to Lisbon.
Yeah, I'm going Lisbon.
Right. Roma. Roma are the next team drawn out. We've avoided them.
It's a big one.
Jose Mourinho, of course. Wouldn't really wanted them. Emil says, who are we playing? We are playing Sporting Lisbon, mate. And Bellerin at Sporting Lisbon says
at the
Keys.
beginning, yeah, ex-Arsenal player.
No, is he still at... He's gone back to Betis?
Betis, yeah.
He was at Barcelona, wasn't he?
He's at Sporting Lisbon. Sporting Lisbon.
Oh, yes, he's at Sporting Lisbon. That's right, yeah. Real Sociedad has been drawn against Roma. So Roma versus Real Sociedad.
Yeah,
Roma versus Real Sociedad.
I said ex-Arsenal player at the...
Hector Bellerin plays for Sporting Lisbon.
One more then.
Signed for them in January.
That's going to be good.
We got
Shakhtar Donetsk.
Shakhtar Donetsk of the Ukraine.
Oh my God, does they do? Sorry.
Yes, they do there.
It is there, but
Looking cool.
looking chilled.
Shakhtar Donetsk of the Ukraine will play Feyenoord. And I think that completes the draw, doesn't it?
Is that it?
I'm sure that completes
That
it.
does.
Yes,
That's
it does.
eight,
That
yeah.
completes the draw. So that is the draw.
What's the tie of the round?
The tide of... Ooh,
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know. It's still really... I don't know if it's a...
It's not really a big one because Juve got that. Got
The Union Derby?
They're gonna pay in it that as well, definitely.
The Union Derby, is that the tide around? All I know, right, is that Arsenal have drawn Sporting Lisbon. Guys, immediate reactions on that.
Very happy, very happy. Hector Bellerin as well is going to be up against some of the Arsenal top players right now, wingers. He's going to have a long day. He's going to have a long day. No, I'm very happy with that. I mean, they're a good team. I shouldn't say I'm happy because they are a good team. If Arsenal don't go with a strong side, we could get caught. We could get caught out. They're not no small fish in this competition. But happy with it. Happy with it. I am, Robbie. I'm looking forward to it now again. Yeah,
You happy with that, Laurie?
Yeah, listen, it's as well as we could have expected, and that's no disrespect to Sporting Lisbon, who are, like Cecil said, they're a decent team. I think they're fourth in the Portuguese league at the moment. So, listen, it will be a good game, I'm sure, but it's a game that, let's be honest, Arsenal, especially in their current form, would be expected to win. Listen, I know we're going to talk about it. I want to see us go strong, man. I want to see us get through this round. And
do they need to? Does a weakened side beat this team?
But by proxy, what you're then saying is you don't really respect Sporting Lisbon.
No.
You're treating Sporting Lisbon like how we treated Oxford.
Well, listen. Let's discuss
that,
it.
right?
We're gonna discuss it, but let me first of all just give everybody then a full rundown of the Europa League draw round of 16. It's going to be Sporting Lisbon versus Arsenal. That means Arsenal will play the second leg at the Emirates, right? So the second leg will be at the Emirates, which again, that is to Arsenal's advantage. But it'll be Sporting Lisbon versus Arsenal. Union Berlin will play Union St. Galois, who are from Belgium. Sevilla versus Fenerbahce. Juventus versus Freiburg. Bayer Leverkusen versus Ferencváros of Hungary. Manchester United will play Real Betis. Roma will play Real Sociedad, and Shakhtar Donetsk will play Feyenoord. Now, for me, Sporting Lisbon, that, no disrespect to them, for me, that's a good draw for Arsenal.
That's disrespect.
No disrespect. Normally when
facts.
people premise things by saying no disrespect, what follows is pure disrespect.
Listen, DR says, so happy we got Sporting Lisbon. Greg Livingstone says Marcus Edwards is the danger man. Yeah, he played very well against Tottenham.
Yeah.
But Tottenham knocked them out of the Champions League. They're a bit weakened as a team because they've lost some of their better players. Pedro Porro, who's one of the stars for them, when they played against Tottenham, he's now left and he's joined Tottenham. I think it represents for us a very, very good draw. And as I said,
Winnable.
and I said it on the Invincible podcast when I did it with Lee, that gives Arsenal an opportunity to rest some players when we are playing them. 100%.
How many? No, he's right. No, he's right. He's right.
100%. So you're saying to me, Laurie, you're saying to me you're going full strength. Do you want to win the league?
You'd rotate.
Don't you want to win the Europa League?
I want to win the Europa League, but I want to win the league first.
Yeah,
the league is more. The league is
I
the
agree.
thing for me, which is of the utmost importance.
Why can't we do both?
I'm just looking at the game. So how it will fall, it'll be. Let me just before we get into that. On Sunday, the 12th of March, we'll be playing Fulham away. Then on the Thursday night will be the first leg. Oh no, I'm reading that wrong.
So Thursday. March the 9th.
First leg will be on the 16th of March.
No, 9th of March. 9th of March.
9th of March, sorry. How comes it's not showing?
The first leg will take place on Thursday, the 9th of March.
Yeah, it's not showing on the app. All right, 9th of March will be the first game.
Which we travel to them.
Right, which we'll travel to Sporting Lisbon. Then on the Sunday, we've got to go away to Fulham. Then we come back for the second leg and we play, at home against Sporting Lisbon. Now, for me, that first leg, I am not playing Saka. I'm not playing Thomas Partey.
Rob, away to Fulham.
Away to
all the
Fulham.
wrong.
What do you mean away to
I
Fulham?
know they've been alright.
Fulham
a good team.
Fulham right now. If Fulham win tonight, I think they're playing tonight. If Fulham win tonight, I think they're a point off the top 4.
No, Fulham have
What do you
done
mean away to
amazingly
Fulham?
well. No,
Fulham
no.
are an excellent team this season.
Yeah, but by
Fulham are probably better than Sporting Lisbon.
right now.
I reckon they are better than Sporting Lisbon.
yeah.
That is the game that
Arguably,
That's the game I'm focused on. I want to win
but
that.
Robbie.
If we're going to lose, listen. If we're going to lose a game, I lose a Sporting
Why are you
Lisbon
talking
one.
losing?
Wait a minute. I'm going to explain to you. If we're going to lose a game, I'd lose that first leg against Sporting Lisbon. Do you know why? Because we can get them back in the second leg at home. We can come back in that second leg at home and we can pull that back.
Shouldn't it?
Right?
Yeah.
The most important game that weekend is against Fulham.
I don't disagree.
Against that week is against Fulham.
But I
Why would
reckon-
you go full strength
because
before
we
that
can
game?
play both. We can win both games. Listen, in
We
the Premier
can win
League,
both games, but
We-
why go risk? You know,
A weekend
why-
Arsenal team can beat Sporting Lisbon away, in my opinion. A lesson.
been
a
disrespectful
lesson.
to the
All right,
No,
all right.
no,
Let me put it this way. Do you think a weakened team could beat Sporting Lisbon?
It's
If you had to
possible.
put out a weakened
possible.
team, if you had to put out a weakened team
How
against
weak?
one of the two, Sporting Lisbon or Fulham, which one would you put the weaker team out for?
That's an easy answer.
I think it's an easy answer.
an
That's why
easy
he's trying to
answer.
take it.
No,
He's trying to think about everything.
but here
We got
the
Turkish in the
difference.
building. We're going to get Turkish's
My
opinion
approach
soon
is
as well.
different. This is what I'm saying, right? We want to win both games, and I think we can win both games for number one. So my approach is different. Secondly, why can't you start with a strong side, and if things are going your way, then you can make the changes?
Because on the Sunday, right, on the Sunday, we've got Fulham away, and that for me represents a really, really tough game right now, right? And I'm looking at it and
How
saying
do you
we've
know the
got
Sporting
two.
Lisbon's not gonna be
It is going to be. It's the Europa League. I've been to Lisbon. It'll be packed. They got, you know, what I mean, their crowd will be right behind them. But we went to Lisbon with a worse team than what we got now, and we beat them.
Let's get a poll
And, well, let's get a poll
Let's
up.
get a poll
Yeah,
up.
let's get a poll up.
Right, but
regarding
we
that.
need to be a bit
I
more.
mean, what's your
no,
opinion?
yeah,
on
we
it?
need to be a bit more specific in when we're saying weakened teams. So I'm saying.
No, I'm saying go strong.
No, I know, but how strong though? Because I'm saying.
He's saying full side. He's saying full team.
I'm full team. We start with a full team. If things go our way, you can make changes.
I think I might be siding a bit with Laurie because I'd play Saka.
Yeah.
I'd rotate obviously the Martinelli and Trossard.
And I'll
got
tell you
covered
this
there.
much.
You've got Jorginho. You've got
And I'll tell you this
Partey,
much, Cecil.
You've got.
Can you get a chair, please? Pull up a chair, man. We'll get you on the side there.
I'll tell you this much as well. Saka and all those guys will want to play against Lisbon.
Yeah, they want to play, but what if anything happens to them?
I just don't
Right,
know.
but that's
I don't
the
know
risk you run in every game.
I don't know who you put instead of Saka on that side.
Ardy Holyfield says Robbie overselling Fulham. Sporting are a quality side. I'd say right now Fulham are a better team than Sporting Lisbon. When you look at the players they've got, right?
Would you start Rob Holding for this game?
Yeah, I would. All right, you know.
Someone can. I don't know.
You know, we can rotate someone out and then you come back in. Laurie, rotate out a second. I want to get
Although I
Turkish.
did
in.
wanna-
Hopefully
I did- I
Turkish
did
is-
No,
wanna-
I want you to come back.
No,
You're
we're
going to come back,
yeah.
right? Just
You
stand
can
over
sort
there
of
on
meet
the
at the
free.
end. I hope Turkey's going to come and talk with some sense here. So you'd start Rob Holding. All right, cool. We're going to have to.
All right, so Laurie said he'll go with the strongest possible team. My team for that game would be first leg, and I'm not. Listen, Arteta might go stronger than this, but my game would be in goal Turner,
Fair.
right back Tomiyasu, Rob Holding, Kivior, Jakob Kivior, right?
Okay, cool.
Left back Kieran Tierney. Then in the midfield, Jorginho, Fabio Vieira, Granit Xhaka, and then up front, Reece Nelson on the right. Probably Martinelli or Trossard on the left, and down the middle, Eddie. And remember, hopefully we might have a Smith Rowe who could be back in the fold as well. Right?
He was on the bench.
And then I'm keeping back Saka, Partey, all these guys. You know what I mean? I'm keeping them back for the big one at the weekend. Also, I don't know, maybe we might have Jesus coming back into the team then. So maybe he could start that game to sort of get him back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
But that's me. I'm making
full
changes.
rotation. That's a
I'm making
full
full rotation. If it don't go right now, second leg the week after, strong. Let's get Turkish and
You
get
gotta
his
rotate.
opinion.
You gotta rotate it. I probably would start Saliba and Kivior,
Yeah.
just to give it some balance. Aside from that, I think I agree with you. I mean, I'll probably start Martinelli and Trossard as well, and give one of them the chance up front. If Jesus ain't ready, and Nketiah's still our only striker, then that'll probably be the only other changes I'll make. Hopefully, Emil Smith-Rowe's ready as well. But if not, I agree with your team. Just Saliba in for holding, and Martinelli, Trossard, and Reece Nelson starting the front three.
What are you saying?
No, I always said you should go a bit strong. But the full rotation to me is that's bonkers. Kivior and
It's not
Holding
bonkers. It's not
starting
bonkers.
together.
It's Sporting Lisbon we're playing.
Well,
Well,
but we spent 25 mil on Kivior, so
Yeah.
if he's not starting these games,
he should
then
play. But to start alongside Rob Holding, it's
Why not?
complete.
Why not? In my opinion, why not?
I liked your partnership, Saliba and maybe a Kivior, or you put Saliba and a Gabriel and you rotate one of them out at a half time. I'd give Saka the first 45 as well. I really would. I'd want to try and kill the game off in that first 45 minutes away to Sporting Lisbon. Listen, you said no disrespect to them, but it's a lot of disrespect we're giving to them, I'll be honest. So yeah, I'd see how that first 45 minutes goes, but a lot of the changes I would make, I'd like to see Trossard up front in the 9 potentially, Martinelli on the left. In the midfield, maybe Emil Smith-Rowe if he's available in that Xhaka role, because I wanted to see that. And then, like you said, Fabio Vieira or Jorginho will be fine. But a backline of Saliba, Kivior on the left, Tierney will be nice to see him back. And yeah, Tomiyasu in goal and then Matt Turner. I think that's enough rotation, there's enough spine. And maybe I'll take actually Martin Odegaard instead of Fabio Vieira to start.
Nah,
And then
Vieira
swap them
against the
over.
Portuguese team, man. He should be ready for that.
Yeah. Let me do some. There's a load of super chats coming in. I'm gonna get Laurie back in as well. But Perth Luxury also said, I wanted you guys to get I am Jose Mourinho. I'm glad that we avoided Roma. That wouldn't have been a good draw for Arsenal coming up against Roma. Tough game.
There was a few tough ones there, and he was
Get
one of
those
them.
later. The Campbell Life says, once again, English team's arrogance. Sporting is a good team with a good manager. Let's hope they knock you guys out. It's not arrogance.
Whoa.
It's not arrogance. It's me being realistic that I'm looking at it and saying the main thing I want to win is the league. So for me, you can't go strong in both games, in my opinion. So I've got to pick one to go strong in. I'm going strong in the league game against Fulham.
He rotated in the cup against City, and we've done very well, in my opinion. I know we lost the game, we've done very well. That team should be able to beat Sporting Lisbon. I know that we've had additions since then as well. So
I
for
wouldn't
me,
even,
there
I
should be
wouldn't
a
even go that strong in the first game.
Wow.
There's enough strong players in that rotation anyway.
Yeah. Garang says, Robbie is really, really right. Rizwan says, what's the point of a squad if you're going to play first 11 every game? Saka played at the World Cup and most Premier League games. Give him a rest, rotate in the Europa. RY2690 says, Robbie, you're the Don, but I completely disagree with you. We have to go with two strong teams versus Sporting and Fulham away. The second side is too risky. And AMT says, Arsenal must take it seriously with a full squad. I want to get Laurie in for you, Cecil, because you've given us your... Laurie's very controversially saying he would go with the strongest possible team, right? I want you to come on here and articulate that, because
We might as well send some man on holiday now then if we're not going to... We might as well send some man on holiday now if we're not going to give them a chance in the Europa League, because it's only going to get harder from here. There's tough teams left in it.
Right, okay, so I would definitely go strong. Now, I've given it a little bit of thought while I was sat over there. I might make a couple changes. Maybe the goalkeeper can come in, Matt Turner.
Yeah.
And
Vieira for Odegaard.
No, I wouldn't do that, bro. I wouldn't do that. I would start... Listen.
Why?
We have to make a statement of intent. The minute you start saying we're going to make 4 or 5 changes for this game, you are doing what that contributor said you're doing. You're disrespecting not just Sporting Lisbon, but the tournament. You're saying we could turn up with a semi-strength team and expect to go through.
What you're saying is...
put a statement
I think, listen, it's not disrespect. What you're saying...
No, but it comes over. It's perceived
No,
disrespect.
I don't think it is disrespect. What you're saying is basically our squad is so strong that we can make these changes and still be good enough to beat Sporting Lisbon, right? And if we don't, we've got enough in reserve where we get you back on the second leg when you've got to come to the Emirates.
This is a
It's
major
not a one-off
tournament.
game.
Yeah.
The Europa League, despite what some people may think, is a major tournament.
I wanna
We've
win
never
it.
won it before. We got to the final a few years ago and we got embarrassed, and that sticks in a lot of people's craws, including mine. We have an opportunity this time to put it right. We've been given a favourable draw, although not a draw that we should overlook. Don't, pass that up by playing a team that, you consider to be under strength. Somehow slip up and then we're going to look foolish. Make the statement. Play a strong side. Let Sporting Lisbon know we're here to win this game. Hopefully we go through and we can beat Fulham. I think we can win both games.
You think? But I want to make sure.
You don't think so?
I think if we've got our strongest 11, right, we can beat Fulham, right? But we see the Premier League, right? What would you have liked to have gone into the Aston Villa game last week with, maybe a weakened team or a tired team? Would you have liked to have gone into that game last week with that?
No, but in any given game...
hold on. I'm just asking that question. Would you have liked to have gone into that game with, a weakened team?
Yeah, but when you say weakened team, define weakened team.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because you run the risk of playing on a Thursday night, number one, of having tiredness, right? And we know that Fulham is a team that play very high tempo, press high up the pitch. They're a very good side, a very energetic team, how Marco Silva's gotten them play, right? You've also got the risk of injuries. You saw the amount of kicks that Saka gets in every game he plays, right? So would you want to go and play Fulham without Saka? Or do you want to go and play them with, with certain big players missing? I don't. I want to make sure that when we go in to play Fulham, we've got the priority for our strongest team is Fulham. That's the priority as far as I'm concerned. The priority is Fulham. You said we got to the final a couple of years ago in the Europa League. We ain't won the league since 2004, and the league is way, way, way more important than the Europa League.
But it's not the Champions League. It's still a major trophy.
It's a major trophy, but I'm sorry.
And we brought these players in to rotate. Vieira came in to rotate Odegaard. Jorginho came in to protect Partey. But Kivio came in to give Gabriel some rest.
They could still play a part in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. They play a part in the first leg. And then if it's not gone right in the first leg, then in the second leg now, you see, this is how it works out well as well, because you've got another chance in the second leg. But also, you know what? Do you
know how many teams have said that?
No, but you know what?
Have slipped up by that same rationale that you're...
That's where you got to back your squad.
Every game's a risk.
You got to back your squad, because I'll tell you the other thing it gives you, Laurie, right? If you go into that first game and you make a lot of changes, and you win, say you won that first game 2-0, then you know that actually when I go into that second game, I'll make all those changes again. And I can just have those guys sat on the bench at the Emirates, right? And I may not need to use any of them unless in emergency. Break glass in case of emergency, then I bring on Saka.
No, but I think you're doing it the wrong way around.
So that means, right, that I may be able to give Saka 2 rests. Because if we went out to Sporting Lisbon and we beat Sporting Lisbon 2-0 without Saka, why would you need to play Saka in the second leg? Just have him on the bench.
Protect them again, yeah.
Does that not make sense?
I think it's a question of approaches. The approach should be, we're going out there to win. We play our strongest possible team with maybe a couple of changes,
But that is the approach.
And we make a statement of intent, we win the game, and we try and win the Fulham game as well.
What about you?
I think you rotate, Rob, 100%.
Yeah, but how heavily are you rotating?
Heavy rotation.
Listen, because I feel like we've got enough quality now for these players to be able to beat Sporting. It isn't disrespect on Sporting Lisbon.
It's coming over like you are.
It isn't. It's not like Sporting Lisbon have got the European heritage. It's not like we're playing Juventus. Even though Juventus are not the Juventus of old, I get that you'd want to rotate less against a Juventus or a Roma with Jose.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying.
Sporting ain't having a great season.
Exactly. You know what, Turkish, right? That was exactly why I was saying I didn't want to draw none of those teams. Yeah. Because you can't rotate. If you're going to play a Roma or you play a Juventus, you could rotate heavily and get humiliated.
Yeah.
My counter argument to that is this: you're into the last 16, the business end of the tournament. You've been given, and let's be honest, what most people would consider a favourable draw. There's 2 legs. The first leg, we go there, we go strong. Now, I'm not saying that it has to be maybe the complete first 11 that you would normally play. You can allow for a couple of changes, but you play a strong team. You have guys on the bench that can come on and impact the game. But to me, you make a statement of intent. We're going there to win this tournament. starting with Sporting Lisbon.
You say a couple changes. Let me ask you a few questions then. Are you happy with Tierney starting?
Listen, I'm happy with Tierney starting, but I don't want to see wholesale changes for this game.
Are you happy with Tomiyasu starting a game?
No, but that's the point I'm making. I don't want to see wholesale changes.
I get that, but we've got individual players that deserve to start games as well.
Why does Odegaard have to play that game?
Because he's captain.
Yeah, but you can play Fabio Vieira. And like
I mean, what message does that
like
send?
you said, he's going back to Portugal.
Hang on, let's talk about Odegaard for a second. And this goes to the heart of what I'm saying. So you come to the last 16 of a major tournament, right? And you're not playing your captain. What kind of message does that send?
There's a good reason for it.
No, but what message does that say?
That we're keeping you back for the league.
And Odegaard knows this ain't Champions. This ain't Champions League. This is Europa League.
The Champions League, yeah.
It's a major tournament. If we win it, we can qualify for the Champions League.
But look who got us through the group stages. It was a rotated squad.
Yeah,
so what does it tell those players that got us through?
But you're at the business end of the tournament. How often have we seen, for example, teams, right, where they've made changes throughout the rounds, and then they get to the semi-final and the final, and they play the strongest team?
That's more understandable, though.
Anyway, there's a load of super
I don't know,
chats.
I think the approach has to be right, mentally.
There's a load of super chats. It's dividing opinion. AMT says Arsenal must take it seriously with a full squad. Greg Livingstone says, was Marcus Edwards at Tottenham in the early days of his career? He was, so he'll want to do well. He did very well against Tottenham, by the way. Red Square says, if you are Vieira and Kieran Tierney, what message does it send to them if they don't start in this sort of game? They might as well leave early
they've not
for the
started in
summer.
loads of games.
Yeah, but this is the sort of game they should be starting in.
Why?
Because they're good enough that,
No, I'm not saying they're not good enough. I'm saying that it's the message that you're sending out.
It's a message, man. The message is we've got a very important game on Sunday because we're going for the league, and the message we're sending is that this team that we're putting out is good enough to beat Sporting Lisbon.
You're talking like we've got a threadbare squad that
we don't.
You know what I mean?
We've got an excellent squad.
Yeah. So you could start strong and bring the guys in.
No, I disagree.
But even Pep rotates, and
Exactly.
he's been in Champions League.
You can't
and stuff.
compare our situation with Pep.
Well, Arteta's learnt from Pep, though. Arteta's philosophy comes out of Pep's.
Campbell Life says Frankfurt won the Europa League last year by beating Barcelona and West Ham while finishing 11th in Germany. Don't underestimate these teams.
There you go.
Which we're not. We're not
underestimating them. Akil says, let's learn from the Man City game and get some momentum. We don't want to have a sloppy performance whilst going on a run. Rotate with small changes. Dave Jordan says, Laurie, would you say the sky's green just to be different? Greg Livingstone says...
Well, if you say that, then you don't know.
Greg Livingstone says, both Europa League and winning the league gets us into the Champions League. Either way, we're in the Champions League. By winning one of them means we don't have to win the other. Marshall says, Arsenal fans said they've got a deep squad, but they pick and choose which match is important. If you've got a deep squad, you should go for all competitions. This is going for all competitions, by the way. This is being I want people as well. This is being sensible. If we was playing Juventus, I wouldn't say make all them changes because you could go there and you could get battered. I understand that. But we're playing Sporting Lisbon. I was there last time we played Sporting Lisbon, right? Yes, it's it's not mega hostile place to go to. But, they got great support. Yes, it will be a game. They'll be motivated. Bellerin's playing for them now as well, right? But I'm sorry, that alone tells you the standard that we've got better players than them, that they're having to bring in Hector Bellerin, right? We can rotate and we can beat them.
And on that pick and choose thing, he's right. Because obviously this season, Arteta's gone heavily with the same starting 11 as much as he can. But but that's been something that, in my opinion, has been holding him back a little this season. And if we want to get the squad ready for next season, where in the Premier League we're rotating as well, then these players have to be given a chance somewhere along the line.
Listen, I absolutely agree with that. But where I disagree is when you're talking about wholesale changes. I don't think it's a good move.
Rizwan asks you, Laurie, he goes, do you think we can win the Premier League and the Europa League?
Yes, I do.
Hussein Patwari says, Laurie, as a point, Sporting beat Tottenham at home in the Champions League this season and they're dangerous. What happened in the second leg? They lost. Would you take Saka and Martin, but they should. I think he's saying he would take Saka and Martin, but they'd be on the bench.
Why not?
Producer says Sporting beat Tottenham 2-0 at home and drew 1-1. And drew 1-1 with them away, so it won't be an easy game. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. No, because, yeah, but it's. Oh yeah, that was right because it's in the group stage, isn't it? Yeah. And play a strong team at Lisbon, win big, and rotate at home. Says Ren.
Exactly.
I disagree. I'm looking at the fixtures, and as I said, it's Fulham the Sunday after, away as well. Even if that was at home, but away to Fulham, I need Saka there. Mm-hmm. I need Partey there. I need the big boys at that game. Saliba.
Listen, what I think will happen, Robbie, is that in the lead up to the game, obviously the player and his staff will analyse the fitness and the levels of the players concerned.
Yeah, we know that.
And he will, make
But if
changes
everybody's fit, I'm telling you what I do.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, to me, it's important that you make a statement of intent. You show Sporting that, listen, we're here to win this game. We're not going to go weak or less strong, whatever the term might be. We're here to win. We're starting with a strong side, a very strong side, a couple of changes here and there. And then, depending on how the game plays out, we can make changes as we go along.
So would you play Thomas Partey in that game?
Well, I would probably have a conversation with Thomas Partey.
No, would you, forget the conversation.
Yes, I would.
Fit,
yes, I would.
Would you play Saka?
Yes, I would. And I think that if you spoke to those players before the game and say, do you want to play in this game? I'm sure they'd say
I'm
yes.
sure Saka want to play in every game, but that's not the point.
You don't want
would you play Saka?
Nah, he needs. Listen, I don't want. He's on the road to it, but playing 50 games so young, and getting kicked left, right, and centre. They are fine-tuned athletes, but Laurie, when you're young and you're playing this many games and there's this much pressure on your shoulders, it can make or break. And don't get it twisted, Saka's broken every target that he's had moving forward, but you also want to protect him a little bit. It's all good and well asking us for refs to protect him a bit, but we have to be able to do the same. And you say a couple changes. In my opinion, if there is a couple changes, those couple changes have to be players like Saka and Partey, because they're the ones that are so important to us, not just for the Premier League, but moving forward as a football club.
Play.
Yeah.
Billy Smith says Manchester United are in all competitions and never play a weak team, whereas we played a weak team against Manchester City and started struggling even when we put our best team back. We need momentum. I'm sorry, Billy, you're wrong.
That's not fair because
you're wrong. Because the other day I saw Man United play. They left out Casemiro. Was it last week? Isn't it?
But yeah, he's suspended. But Ten Hag.
No. But there was a game they left out Casemiro. Ten
Hag rotated well.
Yeah, they left out Casemiro. They left out 2 or 3 of their players. Remember that game? They even brought in Maguire. Yeah. Was it Leicester? No, sorry, not Leicester. What game was it?
Let the record.
I remember.
They rotated because they knew they had the first leg against Barcelona.
Let's not get into
it. One second. They rotated because they knew they had the first game against Barcelona, right? So they rotated their squad. So I'm sorry, that is not factually true. And I remember Maguire came in, and he struggled, by the way. They had to then, in the second half, bring back on Martinez and people like that. So that is not true.
And to say Man City never play a weak team, Man City didn't play De Bruyne against Tottenham. Against Arsenal in the FA Cup, it was Ake. That's just 2 examples off the top of my head.
It's not true. It's just not true. Mr. Lowy says, I think we can rotate this squad and win the Premier League and the Europa League. And by the way, with the rotations and that I'm saying, I think that's good enough to beat Sporting Lisbon. Antonio Tio 1993 says, Kivior will play. A good time to see how he plays. Yeah, I'd play Kivior.
See him.
Got to start.
Otherwise, why spend 25 million on him in January?
You could play Kivior in the second half. I'm saying I don't want to see wholesale changes. I'm saying I want to start strong. Depending on how the game pans out, we can make changes as the game goes. Those guys will still be involved. It's a squad game nowadays. These guys understand the mechanics of playing football at this level. You know what I mean? So I'm quite happy for Tierney to start. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is I don't want to see wholesale changes. I want the manager to make a statement of intent.
If Fulham win tonight, in their game that they're playing tonight, right, they go on to 41 points, right? That puts them a point off the top 4. That's the sort of team that we're coming up against, right? Fulham are
I'm very aware of Fulham.
They're very, very good side. Yeah, they just beat Brighton away. And at home, they've been very, very strong, right? And you want to go in there, right, with the risk of not having
every game's a risk.
Yeah, but I'm saying the risk of not, but you can avoid this risk by leaving Saka out, leaving Partey out, leaving Odegaard out, giving those guys a rest, right? And rotate, because it's not like we're bringing in weak players. We're bringing in Fabio Vieira, who played in Portugal, who'll be relishing that opportunity to go back there and strut his stuff. You know what I mean? We'll be bringing in Kivior, who'll be relishing a chance to play. Rob Holding, experienced player. Matt Turner hasn't let us down so far in the tournament. You know what I mean? We'll be bringing in maybe either a Trossard or a Martinelli, whichever one, who we know they're not going to let us down. We'll be bringing in maybe a Emil Smith-Rowe, who we need to get minutes for, because we're going to need players like that towards the end of the season.
All of those players.
This draw has been perfect, in my opinion. It's perfect for us, right? We haven't got one of the real big guns, and we've got a chance where we can put out a team that is rotated but is not disrespecting them, because the team is good enough to beat them.
Listen, I hear what you're saying, right? And you talk about risk. There's risk attached to every single game when it comes to
You can say that for everything, don't
right? So what I'm saying is this is the last 16 of a major competition, one that we should take seriously. We've been given a favourable draw, but let's not, disrespect the competition. Let's put a strong side out, hopefully get a good result. We can make changes in the second leg.
Paul Aloisi says, as an Arsenal fan, I find it so painful to listen to Robbie and Turkish talk about my club I've supported for over 50 years. I'm so bored of setting up just to get into the Champions League. Well, hold on a minute. You're obviously not listening properly, right? What we're saying is we are prioritising the league. The league. Right?
No sense,
winning the league. So it makes no sense what you're saying. And by the way, if you win the Europa League, you get into the Champions League. If you win the league, you get into the Champions League. But the priority has to be to winning the league is the big thing for me. Winning the Europa League would be fantastic, but winning the league, if I can only choose one, it's the league.
Yeah, if I could only choose one, it would be the league.
And that's why I'm prioritising.
Yeah,
but we're not being given that choice, are we? What you're speaking is hypothetically.
Yeah, but that question's coming in like we're trying to throw away the Europa. We're not trying to throw
away the
Europa
League.
Trust
I didn't say you was.
We're judging it on merit, because if we would have got Juventus, we wouldn't have been saying as many changes.
Okay. But what I'm saying
but
is...
a Sporting Lisbon, I'm sorry.
I think, you know what it is, right, Turkish and Robbie? It's a question of approaches. We both want the same things. It's the approach to how you get to that.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is, we've been presented with a favourable draw, but we shouldn't overlook that sort of situation.
I think we need to take advantage of the favourable draw and rotate our squad so we can have a stronger team going into that Fulham game.
And I think that we need to play a strong team and get the business done as early as we can.
But it's not full rotation. When you look at the players, like for example, I've said Saliba, that's a starter. Tomiyasu started in our biggest game of the season. Martinelli's been a starter throughout this whole season. Trossard started games for us. Nketiah started games for us.
Yeah, but with respect, Turkish, I don't think we can sit here.
You're saying strongest squad.
I'm saying that you can make changes, but I'm saying I don't want to see wholesale changes for the sake of it. I'm saying I want a strong team.
I think with wholesale changes, right, the team is still strong enough to beat them. We're talking about players that are coming in.
And you could be right.
We're talking about players that are coming in that, if they come in on a week-to-week basis, we're not crying. You know what I mean? We're not crying if Kieran Tierney comes in, because he was a first-team player last season. He's a top player. Same with Tomiyasu. Same with a whole host of players. Jorginho's coming now and is doing really well. Looks like, this is why I said when we bought Jorginho, good signing, because for these sort of competitions, he can just fit right into that. You know what I mean? As I said, guys like Vieira played in Portugal, will be relishing this opportunity to play in this. Somebody like Reece Nelson will be relishing the chance to get out there and strut
they are all, let me make it clear, individually, they are all those players that you mentioned are top players. The problem I have with what you're saying is you're talking wholesale changes. I'm saying no. I'm saying you can make a couple of changes here and there. That will be something that the manager will have to decide when he assesses the squad before the game. But I'm saying overall, my sentiment is strong team, please.
I think to me, my priority is to win the league. And if your priority is to win the league, you have to rotate, and you have to rotate quite a lot. Jordan Roper says, Laurie, so you say we're not respecting Sporting enough. in my opinion, you're not respecting our bench and our players enough. They need their time to develop, and I trust them. I say we experiment with those positions. Welshie King says, guys, it's not the best protocol to do wholesale changes with cold players who've got no momentum this season. 5 to 6 changes, then sub the rest for the second half. R. Thomas says, please rotate. We have players that deserve to start. And if we weren't in a title race, I would agree with Laurie, but we all know the Premier League is more important. And Billy Smith says, all I say is this, we better not lose to them. We've got 2 legs to beat them as well. That's what I'm trying to remind Laurie. If we don't get the job done in the first one, we get them back home. That's the best thing. The second leg is...
I don't like that way of thinking, though. I think you get the job done first.
I feel it's a sensible way of thinking because you don't always get the job done first.
With respect, I don't think that is the most sensible way of going about it. I think that you get the job first and then you can make wholesale changes if it suits you in the second leg.
There's no point in making wholesale changes if we just lost to Fulham. You know what I mean? That's the game.
Why do you say if we lose to Fulham?
No, because I'm saying I'm trying to protect against... I want to go to Fulham with our strongest team and they're all ready to go like it was just a normal week. And that game is important.
And on top of that, what giving them opportunity on Thursday does, if we go ahead and win the game in Lisbon, then you have players that have just come off the back of a big win for us, ready to come off the bench against Fulham if things are not going to plan because they're raring to go.
Exactly.
If they don't get chances, then mentally, where are they? And when we need to call upon them in crunch time, business end of the season, they're going to be cold. Tomiyasu, a lot of people said the first half an hour against City was because he was cold. He hasn't played football in a little while. Well, these are the games these men have to play football because we haven't got any other game, throwaway. We haven't got, this ain't a throwaway game. We haven't got throwaway games. So where are these men going to pick up their form and their confidence?
During the course of the matches where the manager will rotate them.
And the other point I made, Turkish, was that if we say we go with that much change team and we win, like a 2-0, that then gives us another advantage, and in the following week we can make wholesale changes again, maybe just have those players on the bench in case things are going wrong, which again is the absolute perfect scenario for Mikel Arteta. Ronya says that Thursday-Sunday interval is a killer, especially if you have to play twice in 3 days. When do we even train? So listen, that's the some of the scenarios we're putting there. Premier League should be our focus. Forget the Europa League, says Ricky says. I don't know about forget it. Listen, I want to win it, but the priority for me, I'm with you, the priority is the Premier League. And I'd rotate. Laurie wouldn't rotate.
No, come on.
You go for minimal rotation.
I said minimal rotation.
But you play Saka. You want to play Saka. You want to play all those guys you want to play.
Yeah, if they're fit and ready to go. I mean, obviously, if one of the aforementioned players is carrying a slight knock and it's looking a bit risky, you think, okay, well, I will sit you out for this game and make sure you're ready for the Fulham game. So you're right, we prioritise the Fulham game. However, all things being equal, we play a strong team and we rotate the squad, we get the win and we move to Fulham and beat them as well.
Okay, let me just remind everybody of the Europa League draw once again. Arsenal have drawn Sporting Lisbon. The first leg will be in Lisbon, followed by the second game at the Emirates. We better start booking up, right? Yeah. The flight prices have probably just doubled straight 100%. After. That's how it works, you know what I mean? But that's a good trip. I've done that trip before. Lisbon's a lovely city, by the way, so that'd be a great trip. So Sporting Lisbon versus Arsenal. The other ties are Union Berlin versus Union St. Galois of Belgium. Sevilla versus Fenerbahce, Juventus versus Freiburg of Germany, Bayer Leverkusen versus Fenerbahce of Hungary, Manchester United will play Real Betis, Roma versus Real Sociedad, and Shakhtar Donetsk will play Feyenoord. That is the draw. Arsenal, as I said, once again, will be playing against a Sporting Lisbon. Last couple of super chats before we go. Andrew Davies says, nah, man, screw that. You can't bring backup players in an away game in Portugal. Look what happened away at PSV. Get a result in Portugal and bring in the backup players in the easier home game. We're a PSV now. They're out. That's why you don't panic. And Billy Smith says, take Europa seriously. We could win no trophies. This is taking it seriously, but I'm dealing with the team that's in front of us. And I think with rotated team, it's good enough to beat them. Listen, thanks very much for watching the show. Don't forget, we've got loads of content coming out today. We've got Box to Box, where Turkish has been talking to Lee Chappie, Leicester fan, so you get a real insight from a Leicester fan's point of view into that game that's coming up tomorrow, all-important game. Also, we got a match preview coming out today around about 5 o'clock UK time as well, where we're going to be, me and James look ahead to that big game, all the facts and information you need around that game. And of course, we'll be doing a watch-along to the game tomorrow in the studio, also the starting 11, and we will be at the game as well, speaking to fans both before and after the game. Massive game away at Leicester City. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV. Once again, for all the people who donated the other day to the earthquake, Turkey-Syria earthquake appeal, thank you very much. You can still donate. The link is still in the description. We're keeping that open until Monday. We've raised £30,000 for that. It's been brilliant. But you can still donate if you wish, and the link is in the description. Thanks for watching. It's Arsenal versus Sporting Lisbon.